Thanks for joining us. I have one of my favorite, my favorite guests again, and it's someone that a lot of you love. And we are here to talk about Amber Heard and Johnny Depp primarily, which is something that I am gearing up to discuss a lot more with the trial coming up. And so far I've been doing a lot of Marilyn Manson stuff, and I will continue to do that. But I am going to ramp up my focus also on Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. And so along with that, this guest is going to be making videos with me, and we're going to be providing commentary leading up to and during the trial. And during the trial, I'm going to try to do daily commentary and have her on, as often as possible. But Andrea Burkhart, say hello to our audience. And so, yeah, we're just going to, launch right into it. It is a Friday afternoon, and we are both in some casual clothes and just kind of, I think, both feeling relaxed after a really, really stressful, hectic week. So Andrea, I confess that I have not kept up with the Johnny Depp, Amber Heard saga as nearly as much as I have Marilyn Manson. Marilyn Manson thing has been my focus. So there's a lot that I don't know, a lot I'm sure that's going on. And I need to re-educate myself about it. What is currently the legal situation leading up to the trial? Kind of where are we at generally with Johnny Depp?
So it's not surprising that the case has maybe fallen off the radar a little bit for you, because there really hasn't been much happening. We're getting to the end of discovery, though, and so things are going to start to pick up rapidly as they get prepared to get into pretrial motions and then, of course, into the trial itself. So we're just a couple months away from trial at this point. There's a lot of last-minute things going on. So the thing I thought it would be fun for us to talk about today in particular, because it has come up in the courts and it's proven some fruit for drama in the past, is Amber Heard's deposition. So this is very late in the game for a deposition of a primary party to be taken. Amber Heard is being deposed. She's being deposed by Johnny Depp's lawyers. Johnny Depp has the right to be there, but he probably won't be. I mean, we don't know. We do know that Amber Heard made a specific point of being present for Johnny Depp's deposition. So what happened was Amber Heard was deposed back in 2016 as part of their divorce case when she was initially making her abuse allegations.
And with the deposition where she wears the white all the way, buttoned up, and she's making all those like faces and she's eating and stuff. Is that the same one? Okay.
Yeah, so lots of people have seen this video. She's in what I call her sad pilgrim look. That was her style for that one. But as you noted, she displayed an awful lot of anxiety throughout this whole process. That deposition itself was delayed. There was some coverage at the time about her deposition had been initially scheduled. She showed up an hour late and refused to go into the deposition room. And so I actually had to go and look at this to remind myself of what exactly happened. And there's this article on Refinery 29 about it, where they talk about essentially what happened is Johnny Depp had to go back to court to compel her to go in and sit for her deposition because she was. So they described it as she, according to her lawyer, to Johnny Depp's lawyer in what he filed, she arrived to the 10 a.m. deposition an hour late, never entered the room to testify. The lawyer claims that through the glass windows in the deposition room, she saw Heard hysterically crying and pacing in her separate conference room, or screaming and yelling at times and laughing at others. His lawyer described behavior as manic and irrational in court documents, and says she observed Amber's counsel trying to reason with her throughout the day. So Amber Heard had a really, really bad time.
Well, I'm just going to say for a second, just what a mental image I get with that, because again, they're describing her like some kind of caged animal, pacing wildly back and forth, going from crazy laughter to crying to anger. And then you've got surrounding her these attorneys and these helpers or minders or assistants or whatever who are trying to calm this crazy woman down. What a mental image. All right. Wait, go on though.
So, an important part of the time frame too that I think people should be aware of is that it was right in this timeline that the TMZ video, the famous Johnny Depp beating up the kitchen cabinets video, got leaked. I want to say it was August like 13th or something like that, and her rescheduled deposition took place on August, I think, 16th. So it was just within a very short time frame that she has this freak out. They go to court to compel her. She releases this TMZ video, and apparently that's comforting enough to her that she can then manage to make it through the deposition when it gets scheduled.
Wow. I mean, now that you say this, like some of this is coming back to me, like I've read, but like it is just amazing. Like I'm continually amazed by Amber Heard and by this whole thing. Wow. Okay. So yeah, what were you going to say?
Well, so that I think is interesting background because it gives us a little bit of insight into how Amber Heard feels about and approaches the deposition process, right? This is something that's a source of great anxiety for her. And just hypothetically, if she does have one of these highly neurotic types of personalities, as Johnny Depp has accused her of, then, it's a normal kind of expected thing that she would be trying to soothe herself by exerting a massive amount of control over the process. We see that, here by just the initial freak out and then the leaking the TMZ video. We're seeing it again in the Virginia court now. Albeit so far from what we can see on a less grand scale, but nevertheless, very compulsive need on her part to control every aspect of the deposition and basically use that as a way to gain the upper hand so that she can feel calmer and more comfortable about the process.
Oh, right. That's well put. Yeah.
So to get into the details of what's actually going on in the Virginia court, she filed back at the beginning of the month a motion for a protective order concerning the taking of her deposition.
A protective order against whom?
Against Johnny Depp. And so essentially what she is asking for is she's asking for protective measures to be put in place, ostensibly having to do with COVID, and then also ostensibly having to do with just basic security concerns.
But not security, surely not security concerns about Johnny Depp himself. Like, is she really...
This is the fans, the evil Amber Heard hater Twitter fans that are, threats to her safety. People might also remember that back during the first deposition, the location was known. So depositions are usually taken in the office of the attorney who represents the party who is taking the deposition of the other person. So in this case, it would be normal for, Ben Chu's Brown Rudnick office in LA to be the location. It doesn't have to be that way. That's just kind of normal. So one way or another, they figured out, where the deposition was and when it was going to be back in 2016. So a whole bunch of paparazzi showed up, and there's video of, her going into the building and into the escalator and stuff. So that has happened. But she is now attempting to, I guess, sort of elevate the risk of that type of encounter into a risk that, some Twitter haters might show up, and do something. Yeah. It's all a bit nebulous. A lot of her supporting documentation, that I guess is supposed to substantiate these fears, is not being made publicly available. So we don't.
As no one, for the record, no one has attacked her, and I can't think of really. The most that I've seen is her at that L'Oreal event getting heckled a bit, but anyways, but okay, well, at least she's not trying to present to us this idea that she's still afraid of Johnny Depp. I mean, that would have just been, but I'm not, like I said, I'm not shocked by anything she does. So she's doing these things, like, are these delaying tactics, or what's her legal strategy with this?
It seems to be a combination of a couple of things. So let's talk about first specifically what she's asking for.
Yeah, sorry.
So I've got her motion pulled up here. And she is arguing, number one, Johnny is not honoring an early agreement to ensure the same health and safety protocols that were used in his deposition. That Johnny Depp is demanding that she violate redacted law. We don't know whose law. They redacted it, probably California, by not wearing a mask while being deposed, and refuses to require all persons present wear K95 or KN95 masks consistent with CDC guidelines to protect against Omicron. Mm. So that was her specific, justification, I guess, for causing a stink about the conditions of her deposition. Mm. But you go through and look at the timeline, and from my perspective, a little bit of a different story emerges. So she says that back at the end of December, they began communicating over what type of health and safety protocols were going to be in effect. Ostensibly, according to her, there's some kind of agreement that is reached about things that are going to be put in place. And then a month later, at the end of December, Amber decided she wanted her deposition to be over Zoom. She doesn't want to do it in person. She wants to do a Zoom deposition. And Johnny Depp immediately refused, said, absolutely not, we're not going to do that. So then Amber Heard starts nitpicking all the things that she wants, to be in place for the deposition. She wants, previously agreed upon, according to her, safety and health precautions included providing a contact at the local police department, facilitating safe and private building ingress and egress, providing safety measures inside the building to ensure the public could not access the deposition area, ensuring cleaning measures for the building, restroom, and deposition areas, lunch arrangements to avoid having to leave the building, arrangements with the court reporter for plexiglass barriers, and assurances that all persons physically present are fully vaccinated and received a booster. So Amber Heard is basically trying to impose a mask mandate and a vaccination mandate on the terms and conditions of her deposition. She, in her motion, this is the first time she has used her baby. Specifically, so one of the things she objects to is as they're negotiating, what if any order is going to be signed over these conditions. One of the things she's alarmed about is that Johnny Depp will not allow her to wear a mask. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a second.
Okay.
But so what she says in her motion is attempts to prohibit Ms. Heard from wearing a mask for her deposition, notwithstanding Ms. Heard having every right to wear a mask to protect her own safety and that of her infant child, not to mention others in the room, et cetera, et cetera. So she's bringing up her baby now as a reason why she should get special treatment in her deposition.
About exactly is Johnny why is Johnny Depp's team preventing her from wearing a mask? Is that what she's saying?
So normally, here's how courts have been typically accommodating concerns with COVID. There have been a lot of protective measures that most courtrooms have put in place for a long time. It was complete shutdown, weren't having trials at all. Since things have started to reopen, there's been a lot more protective measures in terms of, people in the courtroom being masked, being socially distanced, having plexiglass barriers up, and so forth. However, this has to be balanced against the fact that when a witness is testifying in a court process, being able to observe them and their demeanor and reactions and so forth is an extremely critical part of the process. And
Sure.
so if a person's face is, completely obscured while they're giving their testimony, you're not going to catch those little smirks and grins and micro expressions that we've already seen from Amber Heard's first deposition that she's a little prone to. The bottom line is she likes to smile when she's thinking about hitting Johnny Depp. So her wearing a mask is an opportunity for her to potentially hide some of that.
Gotcha.
So where this has come down in courtrooms, the judge typically has a massive amount of discretion to decide for themselves how we're going to order things in our court, and what people are going to need to do or not do. So we don't know what Judge A is going to do. However, most courts have recognized the significance of needing to observe the witness's face. And so typically they will either require the witness to remove their mask during the course of their testimony and testify with their face exposed, or if they are, concerned about that for health reasons, they may wear a clear face shield. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know about the clear face shields that
presumably there's also, I would imagine when they're testifying, there's also, distance between them and other people are wearing masks too, I would imagine.
Absolutely. Typically what's happened is everybody else in the courtroom is going to be masked. Everybody else in the courtroom is going to be distant. There may also be plexiglass barriers between people in the courtroom. The witness box itself may be enclosed by a plexiglass barrier, just depending on that location. So yes, the whole point is that most of these COVID protective measures are made to be redundant so that, if your mask fails, you have other potential protections in place to keep you from getting infected. And that's very likely to be the case in this courtroom.